This conference will now be recorded.
Alrighty. So yesterday we have discussed about the bundle configuration. So we have gone through the configuration of the fixed bundle, flexible bundle, and grouped actions. So how do we configure a bundle in PEGA? How do we group them together and how do we promote them together? So that's what we have seen in the yesterday session. And in the today's session, we will be discussing about the contact policies and the suppression rules. Okay, so so this contact policies and suppression rules, both of them are part of engagement policy, and you can configure them under the constraints itself. So let us start with the first one, which is called as a contact policy. So what is contact policy basically? See, just take a scenario or take an example. Let us say you have let us say the campaign. Okay, the campaign is running for every day from August 1st to August 31st, let us say. So the campaign is running from August 1st to August 31st. So today, for the customer ID 1, campaign has identified 10 actions as eligible actions. Tomorrow, for the customer ID 1, campaign has identified some 5 eligible actions. So like that, as soon as the campaign is identifying some actions, it is keep on sending the emails and SMS to that particular customer. But the customer at a point of time he will get irritated, right? So because every day I am getting some or other notifications from this particular business, so he might get irritated and feel like a spam, and there are high chances that customer will block your email ID, customer will block your phone number, because you are irritating the customer and you are keep on sending the emails and SMS and push notifications. So for that, we need to have a limit on the outbound marketing that we are doing. Okay, so for that we need to have a limit on the outbound marketing that we are doing. For example, if it is a inbound marketing, customer is only requesting for something and we are providing the offers to him. But it is a outbound marketing here, where customer is not sending any request, we are only sending multiple emails and multiple SMS every day and every hour, like that. So that limit can be achieved on outbound marketing using contact policies. So in the contact policies we can define like how many emails we can send per day, per week, how many SMS we can send per day, per hour, per week, per month. So like that, for a given time period, how many emails, how many SMS, how many push notifications that we can send to the customer, that limit can be specified in the contact limits. Okay, or it's also called as the channel limits or outbound limits. Okay, all the things are same. Contact policy. Okay, contact policy, contact limits, outbound limits, outbound channel limits, all the meaning is nothing but contact policy only. So contact policy is nothing but restricting the customer, restricting the customer, uh, restricting the customer on a particular channel in a given time period. Okay, or you can say restricting the customers promotions on a particular channel in a given time period. So this is where you are going to set the contact policies or outbound limits, because this configuration is applicable only for outbound channels, not for inbound channels. So this can be sent as a requirement to you, and based on the requirement you need to configure the appropriate uh, limits on your channels. So for example, if you want all the outbound channels to follow a particular limit, you can click on edit and you can see I am having here maximum number of. So you can say simply like what is contact policy, what is contact policy or outbound limits or contact limits. It's nothing but the maximum number of actions that can be sent to a given customer within a given time period or within a particular time period. So here we are seeing maximum number of actions that we can send is 2 per day. Okay, so that means in all the channels, in SMS, email, push notification, everywhere it is 2 per day. Okay, and 15 actions in 7 days. So we can send 2 actions per day, and within 7 days also you can send up to 15. Okay, up to 15 you can send. In 1 week you can send up to 15. In 1 day you can send up to 2. So this is configuration for all the channels, provided you don't do any configuration at a channel level. That means if you don't keep any restriction at a channel level, then whatever you keep here, that will be applicable. Okay, now for example I kept here 2 days, two actions per day, but here I kept 2 actions in 7 days, then this will be considered. Okay, so the channel level will override the all channel levels. That's what will happen. The specific channel level contact policy will override the all channel level contact policy. So here I have mentioned 2 actions per day, but here I have mentioned 2 actions in 7 days. So this will be considered as the contact policy for email. So this will be considered only when nothing has been specified at channel level, then this will be considered. So now it will send 2 emails for 7 days. That means within the next 7 days, it will send only 2 emails. Then again, when the 7 days got reset, then only it will send the next two actions. That is through email. Okay. So that means for each customer having the eligible actions, even though he is eligible for 10 actions, still we will send only 2 actions per week. Even though he is eligible for 10 actions, we are sending only two emails per week. Same way, for example, if you check the SMS, you have here 2 SMS per day. That means every day you can send up to 2 SMS. That's what we are doing here. So today you will send 2 SMS, again tomorrow 2 SMS, like that. You can send up to 2 SMS per each customer. Okay, that's the thing. Got it? Okay, just a
So,
minute.
Ravi,
Yeah, just a minute.
sorry, it's a generic question. In the first tab, if you define 15 actions per within 7 days, and below in the individual channel level also, you are configuring the actions per day. System will identify the number of actions mentioned in the outbound email and the number of parameter you configure in each individual channel level also.
Sorry, I lost the voice. Can you repeat again, please?
Okay, can you show me the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the outbound, in the global level, you define some parameters. Okay, in
Hmm.
7 days, I can send maximum of 15 actions. Okay, in the
Okay.
similar way, each channel level also you define some values, some two per 7 days, something like that. Each channel level also you configured.
Hmm.
If we sum up all the individual channel level, the count is 16. Okay. In the global level, you configure like a
Do not sum up.
10.
Okay, don't sum. You don't need to sum up it. So what I'm telling is every channel is specific to that particular limit. So that particular limit will be applied at channel level. That will be considered. Okay, you don't need to sum up, and you don't need to consider this whenever you have some configuration at channel level.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? So for every outbound channel that is present in your system, you can add a particular limit, like how many maximum number of actions we can send to that particular customer in that particular channel in a given time period, or in that particular time period. So that is what we can configure here. So we have 1 7 14 13, like this. You have all the options, you can select this, and you can send within this limit only. Okay, so basically that is nothing but the contact policy, and this is completely at application level. So this is not specific to any issue or any group. but this is for all the issues, all the groups. This is the limited. Okay, this is the limit. Okay. Okay, so this one, yeah, for inbound also we have some limits. So this is added in the latest version. So I'll just research and we'll come to this later sessions. Okay, this is from 23 PEGA 23 onwards. These two options are also added, that is outbound action limits and inbound action limits. These are the ones which is added. Okay, so this is the contact policy which is not specific to any issue or any group, but for all the issues, for all the groups, this is how it is going to be applicable. Okay, this is how it is going to be applicable. And this is mainly used to restrict the number of times we are contacting the customer, so that the customer will not feel like a spam, right? If you are keep on sending every day 100 emails, 10 emails per day, he will simply he'll simply block your contact id. Okay, he'll just simply block the email address, the phone number, everything, and he will not even consider your emails and sms. So that is the reason it is very important to keep a effective contact policy. Okay, effective contact policy needs to be practiced, and that needs to be provided in the contact policy section in the constraints tab. Now coming to the suppression rules, which is one more concept in the same contact policy tab only. We have one more thing that is called as a suppression rules here. So what is the suppression rules, right? So what is the suppression rules? So the suppression rules is nothing but the, okay, see, for example, just think of a real-time scenario. Okay, for example, let us say today the customer id 1 is eligible for two actions: standard card and rewards card. Okay, the customer id 1 is eligible for standard card and rewards card. So you send these two emails to the customer, and your limit is done. Okay, your limit is done, you send two emails. That's the reason two limit is done, and again till 1 week nothing will be sent, right? Nothing will be sent for that customer. So let us say today, once you send the standard card and rewards card to the customer through the campaign, the customer has accepted standard card, right? So you send the treatments, you send the email treatment to the customer, you send the email treatment to the customer, and customer has accepted the standard card. So that means the customer clicked on the accept button in the treatment, and the interaction history is also updated with accepted as outcome. Interaction history is also updated as outcome with the accepted as outcome, and customer is clearly saying that he is interested to purchase. Okay, maybe the next step you can do, right? You'll send a payment link, or you can take that particular customer to some payment page where you can go, right? So the customer has accepted the treatment, he got the payment link, and he has purchased the standard card also. Again, after 7 days, because the restriction here is two emails per week. After 7 days, again the customer is eligible for standard card and rewards card. You are sending the same standard card and rewards card again to the same customer. So it does not make any sense, right? The customer has clearly accepted your offer. The customer has clearly accepted your offer. So once the customer has accepted your offer, why are you sending the same action again to the customer? Right? We should not be sending, right? So we have to suppress them. So those kind of suppression rules will be added in the suppression rules category, that is the contact policy library. So if you see here what we are doing, track the accepts for a particular action over the past 7 days. That means from the current date, in the last 7 days, if in the last 7 days, if the customer has accepted any offer, then in any channel. So if there is one accepts in all the channels, right? We are not checking only email. See, for example, you might send the standard card through email, you might send the standard card treatment through SMS, through push notification, through different channels. You might be sending the same action. So if there is one accept for all channels, that means the customer might have accepted in email or SMS, through push notification, somehow he has accepted through some particular channel, then suppress the action for all the channels for this many days. That is what we are giving here. For example, I can give something like 365 also. That means for the next 1 year, the customer will no longer receive any standard card action. Okay, because we are saying suppress that action. Suppress means hide that action from promoting to the customer. That is what we are doing. Same with the reject also. You sent standard card and rewards card to the customer. Customer has accepted the standard card. Customer has rejected the rewards card. That means he clicked on the reject button in the treatment. So customer has rejected the rewards card. But again after 7 days, you are sending the same rewards card email to the customer. That does not make any sense. Okay, customer has clearly stated he don't want rewards card. But again after you sending, it doesn't make any sense and it might make the customers angry, right? So we have to suppress the rules, we have to suppress the actions based on the customer behavior. We have to suppress the actions based on the customer behavior. That is what we are doing here. So same thing, like track the rejects for action over the past 7 days. If one reject for all the channels, then suppress that particular offer which has been rejected for that customer only. Okay, so all this is for each customer. Okay, so don't consider that this is for all customers. This is only for, only at a customer level, not to all the customers. So whichever the customer that has rejected, for that particular customer we are suppressing the action. Suppressing the action means we are hiding that action in all the channels for 60 days. That is what we are doing here. Okay, same thing here, impressions also. That means, for example, let us say you have sent the same offer 10 times. You have sent it, customer has seen the offer 10 times. Even after seeing the offer for 10 times, still he is not doing any action. So you, then also you can restrict the action for 60 days. That's what we are doing here. So for different customer behavior, we have to hide that particular offer for a certain duration. You can keep any number here. Okay, you can keep 1000, 2000, any number you can keep here, which you can discuss with your LDA and you can keep it here. So that is what we are going to do here as part of the suppression rules. As part of suppression rules, like whenever the customer accepts the offer, we don't show the same offer again. Whenever the customer reject that particular offer, will not show the same offer to the customer again. So these are the concept that we are using in the suppression rules. Same way we have the add contact policy. So this is no. So we have to add the contact policy in order to suppress the rules. So the advantage here is we can avoid overexposure of the actions, right? So we can avoid overexposure of the actions. That means even the customer has accepted the offer, the customer has rejected the offer, or customer has mentioned some maybe later and no response. That means within, let us say you send the email today, you send the email today, for 5 days you have waited in the offer flow, you have waited for 5 days. So within 5 days there is no response. Okay, within 5 days there is no response, then also we need to suppress the offer, because maybe the customer is not interested. Customer has seen the offer but he did not respond. So these kind of requirement will be there and you have to configure the suppression rules based on the requirement that you have. So let us say track rewards card for last 2 days. I'm selecting here, and here what I will do, I'll just say track the accepts for the action within the past 7 days. So here I have all these options. Okay, so in the previous versions you have only three options: track the action, track the actions in the issue, track the actions in the group. But now, starting from PEGA 23, they have added all these extra options: track the actions in the category, subcategory, action, treatment, all the actions within the treatment, placement type, all the actions within this placement type, because they have introduced the contact policies for inbound also. Okay, for inbound also we have the contact limits. That means, for example, today the customer has requested for an action, you can again restrict that particular action for few days. That is recently added in the latest versions. So all these recent versions we'll try to cover at the end of the course. Okay, so we have some separate sessions for covering the latest features like hot offers, journey visualizer, scenario planner, action performance, clickstream. So like that many new features are added. CDH assistant. Okay, CDH assistant, gen AI. So all these features are there in the 23 and 24 versions. So a lot of features are there, so that we are going to cover at the end of the course. But before PEGA 23, you have only three options: the action, all actions in the issue, all actions in the group. So, for example, what does it mean is, for example, let us say you are having some two credit cards, standard card and rewards card. So, out of these two credit cards, customer might have accepted any one of them, right? Customer might have accepted any one of them, either the standard card or rewards card. As per your requirement, one customer should have only one credit card. As per your requirement, one customer should have only one credit card. It can be standard card, it can be rewards card, right? So that is the reason I'm selecting here track the accepts for all the actions in the group. Okay, that means in my business group I have two actions, and I'm tracking the accepts for all the actions in that particular group. So if there are one actions for all channels, then I am suppressing all the actions in the group, right? That means customer has accepted the credit card and he has made the payment, or he has accepted maybe that payment part that's happening later, or that might happen immediately also, right? That might happen immediately also. So when the customer has accepted any credit card in the group, then we are restricting all the credit cards in that particular group for, let us say, 1 year, something like that, right? That's what we are doing. Based on the requirement, you need to specify the number of days. Okay, that's what you have to specify here. So we can track the accepts, we can track the rejects for all the actions in the group and also for all the actions in the issue also. Okay, so let us say your requirement is one customer can have one loan, that's it. Either it can be a personal loan, it can be a home loan, it can be a vehicle loan, whatever it is. But one customer should have only one one loan. That's it. So you have some issue, something like loan. You have something like issue as loans. Group is something like uh, vehicle loans, home loans, and personal loans. Different three groups are there. But I have to provide only one loan. So instead of setting at group level, this time I need to set the accept at issue level, right? Because in that particular issue, in any group, customer might accept any action in that particular group, right? See, in that particular issue, that is a, let us say some loan, some issue is there, for example. In that particular issue, any loan, if the customer accept, then we should not show any loans to that particular customer in any channel for next 1 year. That is what we are doing here. So this is a very important feature, and you will get few questions in certification also. Okay, you will get some, at least 2 to 3 questions will come in certification also on the suppression rules. Okay, so basically suppression rules are used to hide the offers from being sent to the customer based on the customer behavior. Best examples are like customer has already accepted the offer, then we should not show the same offer again. Or within that particular group, customer has accepted some action in that particular group, then we will not show any actions in that particular group. Best example, like I told, one customer can have only one credit card. So if he has accepted any credit card in that particular business group, then we are going to restrict all the actions in that particular group. Instead of only that particular action, we are restricting all the actions in that particular group. Okay, so this is very important that you just understand this and practice this, because sometimes the tester will feel confused and he will ask you like why this is not working as expected. So why the customer is not getting the offer that is expected, even though the customer is eligible for that particular action, still the customer did not receive that action. So then you need to check, the first thing that you need to check is the suppression rules, because that is where we are restricting that particular action to be sent to the customer. So you need to check the interaction history. In the interaction history of that particular customer, if maybe the customer has accepted that particular offer, or the customer might have accepted one of the action in that particular group, then you need to verify the interaction history. And okay, you need to say that since we have the suppression rules in place, if the customer has accepted standard card also, we are restricting rewards card to be sent to the customer, because that is how the suppression rules are present. Okay, suppression rules will allow you to suppress the actions, or all the actions in that particular group, or all the actions in that particular issue based on the customer behavior. Like when the customer accepted, we should not send the offer, or when the customer has rejected that offer, we will not send the same offer again. Same way, when the customer has made some impressions, right? So here there are 5 impressions for all channels, then we are suppressing the offer for 60 days. So you need to check the interaction history and see whether any outcome is there for that customer. That is the reason we are not sending that particular offer for 60 days. That's how you need to conclude. Okay, that's how you need to conclude. Any questions?
Can you give me some
Ravi,
example of
this
the
impression
impression
means
gap?
Sorry.
Impression.
See, impression means seeing that particular offer. For example, you sent an email. You sent an email to the customer. So email treatment, right? So you sent one email treatment to the customer. The customer has opened the email. That is an impression. So that means he has viewed your email, whatever the email he has sent. He has seen that particular email, but he did not take any action. That means he did not click anywhere, he did not click on the accept button, he did not click on the reject button, nothing he has done. Just he has seen your email, that's it. And
yeah, Ravi,
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
sure. This contact policy library and contact policy. So
Right,
there are two things, right, in this?
right, correct. So don't call it a
So
contact
which
policy library. I have never seen anyone calling this as contact policy library. So you can directly call it as suppression rules.
suppression rules? So suppression rules contain contact policy rule in it. What is the hierarchy
Constraints.
actually?
Constraints will contain two things. Constraints will contain the outbound channel limits, and again in latest version they have added inbound channel limits also, which we will cover in the latest topic sessions. So in the previous version, that means till 8.8, you will have outbound channel limits. That means the contact policy is one feature, and second feature is suppression rules. So the constraints will contain contact policies and suppression rules. Contact policy means we are restricting the number of emails or number of SMS without any change in the customer behavior, right? So even though the customer might have accepted or might rejected, nothing has been done from customer, but still, in order to make sure that we are not sending too many emails, too many SMS, we are going to send the restriction using contact policy. But suppression rules will be applicable only based on the customer behavior. That means customer has accepted something, customer has rejected something, then whatever the customer has accepted, whatever the customer has rejected, that particular offer, or the offers in that particular group or particular issue, we are restricting for a particular duration. Okay.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so both of them
So
are like
Ravi,
separate. Yeah.
yeah. So Ravi, this contact suppressions or contact policies in the back end they run are like when rules or like what are the rules involved in the back end when we create the suppression rules?
So in the back end, there is one strategy that will be getting executed. Okay, so I'll tell you the strategy name, and uh, I will also tell you the extension points if you have to customize your contact policy, because I told you that this contact policy is applicable for all the actions, all the issues, all the groups. Okay, the contact policy, not the suppression rules, that is for all the issues and all the groups, right? So in case my requirement is only for a particular issue and particular group we need to apply the contact policy. Then what we need to do is you need to customize the strategy. So the strategy name is outbound channel limits. I think that is, yeah, outbound channel limits. You see this one, this is the strategy name. So in the runtime, at runtime this is the strategy that gets executed, that is called outbound channel limits. But very important thing that you need to remember, and most important thing that you need to consider and you need to practice is you should never override the OOTB strategies. All these strategies are created as part of your context dictionary and your application wizard. So when you have created the application wizard, we have seen lot of strategies, adaptive models, data sets are getting created, right? So if you go through that wizard, you can find all those things. So all these things are part of final rules, and also they are not supposed to be overridden. So this is a strategy that gets executed. So if you see here, you see this is where the contact policy limits are getting applied. That means whenever you create a contact policy, right, whenever you create a contact policy in the backend, one decision data will be created. Okay, one decision data will be created, I mean it will be there by default, and the same decision data will be updated. All these things are created when you are creating the application. Okay, when you create the application wizard, right, you see a lot of auto generated rules are getting created, right? So all these are part of that only. So whenever you update the contact policy, this decision data rule will be updated. You see, for all the channels it is there, right? For example, for email also it is there, for SMS also it will be there. So in the backend, this is going to be executed. Okay, in the backend, this is going to be executed. Okay, and then we are going to get all this strategy that's going to be executed. You see here, group by the contact policy, and check for a particular customer. Okay, check for a particular customer, and if the contact policy is required or not. For example, sometimes you need to you don't want the contact policies to be applied. Okay, you don't want the contact policies to be applied, so you can set this particular flag, is contact policy required equal to false, like that you can keep. Okay, so if you keep that is contact policy required equal to false, then for your application contact policy is restriction will be removed. Okay, your application contact policy restriction will be removed. So basically all this is where the contact policies are getting applied to your offers. Okay, now coming to the customization, how do I do the customization? If I have to do something, you need to always do your custom logic in the extension points. So we will have some extension points where you can keep your custom logic. So how do I identify that extension points? Well, that will be a separate strategy again. So for example, right now in this strategy there is no extension point. Okay, there is no extension point. So what we can do is we can check where this is getting called, right? So for example, this will be getting called at action level propensity. Okay, this will be called here action level propensity. And for example, if you see here in the scope strategy, there is some strategy called scope. So again, when you trace it, right, you can find out all these strategies. So in the scope strategy only, this is getting called. Okay, so just remember, you can remember this thing. Okay, and for example, now if you see here, um, in this strategy somewhere they are calling the constraints. You see, they are calling the constraints here, right? Contact policy and suppression rules, just now I showed you, right, they are part of constraints. In the next best action designer, they are part of the constraints. So within the constraints, the outbound channel limits will also be getting called. Okay, so now here you have this something called pre-process extension. You see, this is an extension, right? Whatever is having the extension, these are the strategies which you need to customize. Okay. So what it is, this, what is this one? This is a pre-process extension. That means before applying the contact policies, if you want to keep some logic, like for example, just now I told you, right, here what we are doing, we are checking whether the contact policy is required or not. So if in your requirement you should not use contact policy at all, that means there is no restriction like 5 emails, 10 emails, nothing, restriction is not there, then you can set this particular flag as true, as false, right? you need to set this particular flag as false in the pre-process extension. Same way, for example, for a particular issue and for a particular group only, you need to apply the contact policy. Then you need to set that logic also. Here only you have to set in the pre-process extension. So you can see, right, this is an extension strategy, right? This is an extension strategy. So this is a pre-process extension. That means before calling the before call, so you see all this is place where we are calling all the things. So we are calling the treatments. For example, you see the description, join the active treatments, apply the treatment level eligibility. So that means for a particular action, what all treatments are there, this is where it is checking. Okay, this is where it is checking the treatments in that particular action, and it is joining those treatments. What all treatments are active? Active means the treatment you have toggle button, right? Whether you want to enable or disable. So those are active treatments. So before all these are being executed, before all these things you want to do some logic, you can keep that in the NBA pre-process extension. So this is the strategy that you can save as, and you can keep your own logic here. Same way, let us say once all these are applied, okay, once all these things are applied, after all these things are applied, I want to do some logic. For example, here you see this is where the arbitration is being done. It's a very important strategy. This is NBA strategy framework. This is where 90% of customization you can do here itself. Okay, I'm sending in the chat. If you want to save it to some notepad or something, you can save it to some notepad. Okay, so for the OOTB PEGA marketing features, if you want to do some customization, then in this strategy only you have the pre-process and the post-process extensions. So once all these things is run, for example, I have done the arbitration also. See, you see here, this is where the arbitration is happening, right? That we have covered, right? The PCLV. Calculate the PCLV based on the configuration and apply the prioritization formula. Apply the prioritization formula. So that means all the offers are getting prioritized here. They are getting sorted here. So once the offers are sorted, then if you want to do some logic, then you can keep it in the post-process extension strategy. For example, I have sorted all the offers. After sorting all the offers, let us say I want to include some other offer as part of requirement. Okay, let us say some 4 actions are there in the eligible actions. 4 actions are there. I want to append one more action. Then I can do that here in the post processing logic. I can do that. So this is where you have to do the pre-process and the post-process logic. Okay, pre-process is before applying all the logic, whatever you want to do, and post-processing is after applying all this logic, what you want to do, you have to keep it here. But never touch the final rules or never touch the OOTB strategies. You should keep your logic only in this extension strategies only. You have to keep your custom code. Got it? Okay, yeah, just go through this strategy. This is the only strategy. I mean, 90% of the 90% of the time we will update here only. But there are some other strategies also for engagement policy that also we'll see. But most of your PEGA marketing features will be there in this strategy only. That is NBA strategy framework. That is where it will be. Okay, so just you can go through the strategy and try to understand what is happening here, how they are keeping the logic, all these things you can understand. Okay, so we will see some of the components we did not cover, like the group by decision data, right? So external strategy, and this is a embedded strategy. Okay, this is an embedded strategy. So all these things we did not cover, the interaction history component. So all these things we are going to cover in the coming sessions. But please go through the strategies, these 2 strategies at least. Try to understand what is happening there, and you can try to do it in a separate strategy and try to do the same thing, so that you can understand and work on strategies much better. Okay, okay, does it answer clear everyone? Is it understood?
Yes, Ravi. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, just go through the strategy. And for yeah, for contact policy, we have the backend rule that is called customer contact policy. That is the one, customer contact policy. This is the contact policy. Okay, so that means whenever you are updating the contact policy on the UI in the backend, this rule will get updated. Okay, so whatever I have shown here, that is not that is the suppression rules, right? So this is actually the suppression rules, whatever I showed you here. If you see here, so it's clearly saying accepts on email for 7 days, count over 7 days, count over 30 days. Like that, some rules are there. But this customer contact policy is the one that will be updated. I think it's got withdrawn on. I think it's replaced with new one. But you can just check this. You can check this strategy and see where it is getting called. Okay, where it is getting called, you can just go through that. So one more thing that we need to cover here is which PEGA has provided you some option. For example, whenever I am creating a contact policy, for example, track accepts for last 1 day. For example, that is my requirement. That means in the last 1 day, that means in the last 24 hours, I have to check whether any offer is accepted or not. Okay, in the last 24 hours I have to check whether any offer is accepted or not. But there is no option to select 1 day here, right? You see there are only two options, 7 days and 30 days. But in your requirement it is not 7 days or 30 days. If it is 7 or 30, directly you can use this. But in my requirement, in the last 24 hours, if any customer accepted a particular offer, we will not show that same offer for next 1 year or next 2 years, like that. That is my requirement. So then how will I do for the 1 day? Because I don't have option to keep 1 day. So for that, PEGA has given a separate challenge that is called tracking time period. Just search with this one. I will paste it in the chat also. So again, this is something that you need to practice, and it will help you a lot. Okay, it will help you a lot to understand the strategy also. So by default, PEGA has given only two tracking time periods, that is 7 days and 30 days. Okay, PEGA has given only two time periods, that is 7 days and 30 days. But if you want to add some custom requirement, so here they have added for 14 days. You see, do not present any credit cards on the website for next 14 days if the customer has seen the offer in the last 2 weeks. That means the customer has seen the offer. That means he has made an impression. Okay, he has made an impression 10 times, 10 credit card offer. That means 10 impressions are made on credit cards. That is the meaning of this. Okay, see this one. Do not present any credit card offers on the Uplus Bank website. Okay, for the next 14 days if the customer has seen 10 credit card offers in the last 2 weeks. Okay, so that means customer has made 10 impressions on the credit cards. It's not only one credit card. Okay, it's on multiple credit cards. Customer has made 10 impressions. That means he has seen 10 credit card uh, website offers. That's what we are doing. Okay, that's what we are saying, right? 10 credit card offers he has seen on the website. When that is done, we are not supposed to show that all the credit card offers. So we are saying here any credit card offers, right? Any credit card offers means all the actions in that particular group, right? Credit cards is a group, right? Credit cards is a group. So we are saying here any credit card offers. That means all the credit cards in that particular group we have to restrict for next 14 days. But here in our configuration we have only 7 and 30. We have only 7 and 30 for the tracking time period. Okay. For the number of days that you want to restrict, we can keep how many days you want, you can keep it. But if you want to check for last 14 days only, then you have to follow this entire challenge. So you can just go through this challenge and they have mentioned all the things that you need to do. So you have to create an interaction history summary. You have to save as that one. Then you have to create a new field value. And you need to update the strategy. Okay, there is some strategy called check specific channel limits, check all channel limits. Like the two strategies are there. Okay, that strategy also you need to update, and you need to keep this kind of configuration. So for example, if you see here, uh, check specific channel limits. Okay, we'll go to the Dev Studio. See again, whenever you get a requirement as such, then only you need to do this configuration. Otherwise, you don't need to do. Okay, otherwise you don't need to do. Did we keep any space or something? Okay, just filter in the strategies. Okay, so just this is the one. So this is the one. If you open the strategy, here they have clearly made the aggregation only for two things, right? Only for two things they have made the join. That is, you see, 7 days, 30 days. That's it. So they have made this configuration only for two things, 7 days and 30 days. That is the reason. That is the reason on the contact policy also you are seeing only two drop downs. That is 7 and 30. So in your requirement, if you need to check for last 24 hours or last 48 hours or last 5 days like that, then you need to follow this entire challenge and you need to do all this configuration. So once you do all this configuration, then you can see in the drop down you will get like this 14 days or 1 day, 2 days, like that you will get the option. So you can practice this assignment. It will also help you to understand some decisioning concepts which we did not yet cover also. That also you can understand that. So if you practice this particular challenge, so just practice this challenge and you can add a custom time period here. Okay, so that is what you can do as part of this configuration. And so now one more thing that we need to add for the suppression rules is whatever the suppression rules that you are adding, you can actually apply at a action level, at a issue level, or at a group level. See, I'm saying track the accepts for a particular action. I'm saying, but which action, right? Which action I'm calling about, right? So I'm saying track the accept for the action over past 7 days, and if the customer has accepted that offer in the last 7 days, then suppress the offer for all the channels for next 1 year. That's what I'm saying. But which action are you referring? So we need to call these suppression rules in the actions. So we can call it at issue level, we can call it at group level, and we can also call it at action level. So for example, if I go to the action, if I go to the actions, right? Uh, so there is one action here. Let us open this action. Okay, so let us open this action. Just very slow actually.
Ravi, one question, Ravi.
Right. Let me.
Yeah, this does this logic changing to the suppressions, does it fall like customization of these suppressions? Does it fall under pre-processing extension point, pre-processing extension point, or post-processing?
No, you can check that. The pre-processing and post-processing is before and after, right? So you can check that
Yeah, yeah.
strategy wherever it is there. That
Uh,
is where it is going getting called. Right? Pre-processing is before all these things, right? Before constraints, before contact policies, before treatments are also executed, before all these things. Pre-processing. Post-processing is after
uh,
all these things. So all this will be together. So you can just check that strategy where at which place it is getting called. So pre-processing will be before this. Okay, so
okay.
if you see the action engagement policy, right, this is where you are going to apply the contact policies. Okay, for example, at an action level, right, at an action level. So that means the when I say contact policy, it's the suppression rules. That's what I mean. So don't get confused with the title that is being displayed here. So we cannot apply the contact policy at action level or group level or issue level. We cannot do that. So what I mean here is I'm talking about the suppression rules. I'm talking about the suppression rules. That means so which particular action we are saying that we need to restrict for next 1 year when customer has accepted in the last 7 days, that particular action, there you need to add the contact policies. Okay. So you see here all the contact policy suppression rules are there here. So let us say I want to add this suppression rule, then I will click on the add button and I will click on apply. So that means this suppression rule is applicable only for this particular action. right? That is standard card. That means if the standard card has been accepted by the customer in the last 7 days, then we are suppressing that standard card for next 1 year. That's what we are doing here. So the same suppression rules can also be added at issue level and group level also. So if you go to the engagement policy, and for example, if I go to the grow and credit cards, right? For example, here I'm going, and here also I can add my suppression rules. For example, I'm saying all actions, and when you scroll down, this is where you can add your suppression rules. So if you are adding, see, if you are adding, for example, the suppression rule at a group level, or see, this is where you add it. Okay, you will not add it issue level, you will add it here only. For example, if you are adding the suppression rule here, then it will apply for all the actions that are present in that particular group. For example, I'm adding this particular thing, and I'm adding this particular thing. So then, regardless of the action, that means this particular suppression rules will be applicable for all the actions in that particular group. That is what will happen, right? So you are adding the suppression rules at a group level. That means, let us say there are 10 credit cards are there. For all the 10 credit cards, the same logic will be applied, whatever you are adding at a group level. Okay, that means when we are accepting the offer, we are restricting. When we are rejecting the offer, then also we are restricting. That's what we are doing, right? Okay, that's what we are doing here. Okay, yeah, so again we'll see this engagement policy in the tomorrow session, but just I covered the contact policies and suppression rules as part of our today's session.
Ravi, one generic thing.
See here, yeah.
Yeah, Ravi, like this interaction history, if we want to display on dashboard, so which class we refer and what table we refer to display the
Yeah,
data?
we'll come to that in that session. Okay, the separate class and separate tables are there.
Okay,
We can
they
see
will
in
be
that
okay.
session. Yeah. So you see now, whatever the contact policy that I applied at a group level, so since this particular action is part of grow credit cards, that is the reason the same suppression rules are getting displayed here also. Okay, so that means it has to satisfy these two suppression rules, and also it has to satisfy this suppression rule also. Okay, so if you are keeping the same duplicate, then it will satisfy both of them. Okay, it will not consider, of course, it will not consider, it will be like one only, right? Because both of them are same. Okay, but every action in that particular group has to satisfy whatever the suppression rules that are added at a group level. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Ravi, this is a general question. So, generally, right, PEGA BPM, right, after you process the case type or something, right, with the tracer, right, actual our configure rules are calling or not, we will able to get it now. But here, right, just now we customize some flows, whether actually we done the properly or not. How do you trace? Do you have any tracer kind of thing to find out the backend rules?
So generally in tracer, sorry, in strategies, we don't trace anything. Like I told you the options, right? You can uh, do two things. Okay, that is the contact simulation. Okay, the persona testing and audience simulation. So that's what we have seen in the strategy also, right? In the strategy, when we have to test a strategy, what we have done, we have created a data transform as part of scorecard session. We have created a data transform, and that data transform we have kept in the testing of the strategy, and we have tested with that. Same thing that you have to do here also, but apart from persona test, there is one more thing called audience simulation. So in the audience simulation, that means persona test is for one customer, right? It is a one customer. Audience simulation means multiple customers. So in the audience simulation, we are going to test this particular engagement policy. That means eligibility, applicability, suitability, contact policy. All these things we are going to test in the audience simulation for all the customers. So we have to select what is the target customer that we need to test it, and we can test it. So that is how you will be testing it. So when you run the audience simulation, it will show you on the right side how many customers are getting passed. That means, for example, let us say one customer has accepted the offer, that customer will be filtered out and that customer will not come here. That is what will happen. Okay, so we'll see this audience simulation in the coming session probably day after tomorrow, like that we can cover this one. Okay, so these two things that you will be testing, and from strategy side, I told you, right, you can check it at a component level, whichever component is getting filtered out, right? So if you remember, how do you debug the strategy? So you will have to run the strategy with simulation or with persona, and when you're running the strategy, at which particular component, if the output is not coming, you need to see at that particular component what is the output. So that's how you can test it. Okay, so you will see this audience simulation and all these things in the coming sessions. At the time you can get the understanding. Yeah, we'll continue this engagement policy topic tomorrow, and if time permits, we'll cover the audience simulation also tomorrow. Okay, so just go through this contact policy and suppression rules and try to understand the backend strategy that I have showed you. So just try to see what happening there and what is the configuration happening. Alright then, so we'll cover the engagement policy remaining topics tomorrow.